What's good, everybody? Welcome back. This is Comic News Weekly, and it's no secret the turbulent waters that Disney's sailing through right now with everything going on. We're going to be talking lots about Disney tonight, lots of news about Disney, and how is that going to affect some of your favorite Marvel characters going forward? And what could we be seeing next down the pipeline? Like we said, it's no secret. We got the host ready to introduce tonight. Welcome back. Getting back into the swing of things. If you have not noticed, and I'm sure you guys have noticed, it's been a couple of weeks of a little bit lack of content. There's no beating around the bush there. There's been a genuine lack of content the last 2 or 3 weeks on the channel, 3 or 4 weeks. We've had some family situations that we kind of needed to put YouTube on the back seat to help out some family members and get through a couple of end of life scenarios with family members, and that's kind of really tough. It's the way of life. That's how things go. But we're back in the saddle this week. We're getting back into the regular routine of things. And here we are with Comic News Weekly. Like we said, introducing our hosts tonight, our guests, everybody. I'm really excited. It's been a couple of weeks since he's been here, but don't fret. Welcome back, Bryan, SimpleMan's Comics.
Boogity bow.
Boogity bow.
Yeah, man, it's been a couple weeks. But that's to be expected. Summertime, school's out, winding down, vacations, and then of course, the condolences that go out to you and your family. I know you guys have dealt with recent death in the family, but I apologize. I wish I could say it was family vacations and stuff, but most of it's been just work for me. While my kids are acting like college kids and staying up all night and playing PlayStation and having to be woken up at 11:30, 12 o'clock by my wife while I'm at work. But great to be back. Talk about Disney, of course, big Disney fan. So we're gonna have a great conversation.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Welcome back again. Yeah, you're right. Summer. It's hot and heavy summertime, right? And speaking of hot and heavy, who we have next, man? Welcome back, Ryan, Rhynoverse.
The only time I can eat a chocolate bar is if I'm in my house. Because if I go outside of this thing, it'll go boo.
Yeah, it's hot as hell down there, ain't it?
Hot, man.
Yeah.
Golly, it's so hot.
My
brother's
down there in El Paso. What has it been, like 15 days of triple digits or something like that?
Yeah, it was 104 when I got my car today. And I was just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But good. Well, it's a good thing we have AC. So that helps out tremendously.
Oh, I know. And a quick shout out to my son, Colin. Hey, buddy. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Like we said, summertime, kids are gone out camping, out doing all sorts of fun stuff. And everybody's rolling into the chat now. I wish I could say I'm excited to talk about tonight's topic, Disney, and how this is going to affect, like, essentially Marvel superheroes or Marvel comic books going forward, because who owns Marvel? Of course, Disney. And it's good to have you back, man, because everything's culminating, man. We've talked about a lot of this stuff in the past 10, 12, 18 months, little bits and pieces over the last year and a half. And I remember like 18 months ago, we were talking, nothing can bust the House of Mouse, like top stock prices. Like, man, this isn't going anywhere. And look where we're at now. And it's a multi-factored effect. And a lot of it is really started in, I think, one spot, Wood. And where do you think that started? What, in your opinion, where did that really start out last year?
I've been saying, I think it's content saturation, and you're just overloading the fans. We got greedy and we were excited, and I think Disney's like, just keep feeding the bus. So they just started creating more content, and it's hard to keep up with it between Star Wars and Marvel, what's in the movies, what's on Disney Plus. And then I think they kind of couldn't keep up with their own pace, and then the creativity and the production value of what they're putting out started showing cracks in the armor. Well, I mean, you've seen people complain about CGI over a lot of the places. We've talked about topics of where SFX workers have been, unrealistic deadlines, and so it was just, I think it was bound to happen. I think it's just the nature of the news cycle. I mean, Warner Brothers took their hits. I mean, they're not doing any better, but Disney's in the news cycle right now. So we have some great topics. I mean, discussing this one, but I think what you're leaning at right now is, Bob Iger recently said, "Hey, we're going to start cutting back on some of this Marvel and Star Wars content." And that I think it's rightfully so. I think you want to. It's the same reason why people hate the ending of Sopranos, or everything that ends when it's on its upswing. People hate, but that's because people want more of it rather than jumping the shark. But I think
I think that whenever they started announcing whenever they started announcing all these slates and everything that was coming out, and everyone was so excited, like, oh man, we're gonna have all this great content. It's gonna be like having TV for us nerds, or however you want to say it. And then now everyone's like, oh, it's too much. It's oversaturated. It's like, well, what did you want? You said you wanted more, we gave you more, now you want less. And I think at the end of the day, people just want good quality. I think if you tie it up, people want to know that things are in progress, and maybe they don't need everything, but they want to know that there's things that are progressing, and maybe there's 2 or 3 storylines that are kind of going out there that they're working on over a 3 or 4 year period, maybe like 2 storylines they're looking over a 3-year period, and there's little offshoot. It seems like they just have so much going on. And like I said, it's overkill. There's so much going on.
I think you hit the nail on the head with quality too. I, for one, have always stated, give me more Star Wars, give me more of the content that I love. But there's a caveat to that. I didn't ask for more to the point where it turns into crap. And I'm not saying the content they're putting out is crap right now, but that's a downward trend that we're starting to see. And as they kept going, and then the oversaturation, like Bryan said, I want more content. I want more quality content before I want more quantity content, for sure, though. So, I mean, this is coming on the heels. This information, I think, was posted the 15th, just a couple of days ago. And this is right on the heels of Ahsoka dropping in 4 weeks, which has pretty much every Star Wars fan pining. Like, I even said this is going to be one of the greatest things to happen to Star Wars stuff since forever. And I think it was last week or the week before, McClay's like, well, Mandalorian really brought Star Wars back on the map for a lot of people. But I think Ahsoka is going to give it some of the staying power that we really want to see as fans, in my opinion. But they're pulling back. They also, in this article, didn't list specifically what they were going to pull back. They just said Marvel Star Wars content. So have either of you guys heard what specifically they're going to pull back on, or they announced that at all?
I think in that article he says they're going to be more selective on the characters and how many movies or whatever a character should get and so forth. I think it's still kind of ties in to, it makes sense, because if it ties into saturation, if you pull it back, they're spending these large budgets on content, and the content might even be good, or might even be great, but because of people are like kind of fatigued from shit, now I got another show to watch or keep up with, I think they're losing viewers just from that alone. So it's like, why spend all that money into that budget and then just spread it out and kind of save some money and kind of sprinkle the content out instead of fire hosing it.
Yeah, what did Disney lose earlier this year? 4 million subscribers to Disney Plus left?
Yeah, so and that kind of leads into, and I think a big chunk of that was in India, where they're trying to, and they're talking about selling off some of their, was it the TV content so much. And then there's rumors that Disney itself might sell to Apple, but he wants to keep Hulu, he wants to keep ESPN, but I think like Freeform, FX, they're talking about trying to sell off.
Yeah, Disney looking to sell ABC, FX, and Freeform, but they're locked in the gates with Hulu.
Yeah.
Like they have to finish purchasing Hulu for something. I can't
like
quite
33 million or 30. I forget, it might even be billion, but it can't be 33 billion. But it was like 33 million. They would have to pay like Universal.
Yeah, well, we know they're not going to sell off Disney Plus, but it's kind of shocking to hear. They're opening up that kind of the floodgates. Where is somebody going to stop those floodgates when it's time to stop and keep Disney whole? House of Mouse isn't going anywhere. That's something I think we can all agree on. Not necessarily going somewhere, but potentially a changing at the helm. Yeah. Or changing of potential ownership, I think was even being possibly discussed, like you said, Apple.
Yeah. And that's another thing also, like Disney Plus isn't going anywhere, but he has discussed selling Disney Plus streaming rights to other platforms. So Disney Plus shows could stream on other I don't know. I mean, and it's weird saying that ABC he would sell ABC, but I think Iger is kind of nostalgic because that's where he came up through was ABC. Um, but I think Iger's probably one of the smarter businessmen, way better than Bob Chapek was. Um, so he's got a lot of stuff to change around. Where we'll get into it a little bit later. I mean, it's not just the media; you also got the parks and everything. That's kind of a lot of stuff going on within Disney right now.
Dude, it's such a multifaceted issue that Disney's facing and Disney fans and a lot of people.
I think some of it is true, and I think some of it's just spin from the news cycle.
Well, Three Rivers is right. Poor writing. That's come up a
Yeah.
number of different times in any of the shows across the comic book community when they talk about streaming media.
Even James Gunn has said that, right? I believe.
And then the poor CGI or the poor working conditions in CGI, what they've got going on there, the pushing of agendas. Some people are definitely not taking kindly to agendas showing up in certain aspects of their content or the content they're viewing.
That's
Hiring
a key
unqualified
part.
directors. That's one that I don't think we've talked about in the past.
I think that the
True.
agendas thing is a huge deal with it because when I talk to, around the water cooler at work, I work at a bunch of different branches and I'll talk to different folks about it. Everyone says the first thing they talk about is how they're like, well, they're always trying to do this or they're always trying to do that. And it's like, it's like it's our escape for real world. We can't escape it.
Yeah, it's not hidden by any means that they're tailoring content to meet, I don't know, not necessarily qualifications, but they're tailoring content to other aspects or community, other aspects or avenues of humanity, right? Instead of making one movie that tries to cover all bases, they're kind of making some changes and kind of tailoring some movies. I'll be honest, there's a lot of Disney movies that I'm like, I'm not the target audience for that. I guess I'll have to just watch it later. There's been very little interest to go see Disney movies in a theater because it just doesn't feel like it speaks to me or to my family.
Yeah, and I don't think the box office is still the box office that we knew pre-COVID because when you know that turnaround time between the box office to digital now is so small
3
that
months.
you could sit there and say I could wait a month or two. Granted, some of the higher grossing movies have taken a little bit longer, but on average, what is it, 45, 60 days between box office to digital? And movies aren't even staying in the box office as long as they used to. Um, so it's rapid. It's almost like movies, but with same with new comic book day. Man, there's so many damn movies coming out, and you gotta take your pick of which one. I want to see Oppenheimer. My wife wants to see Barbie. I did see Mission Impossible this week and enjoyed that. And the last movie I saw in theater Disney wise was, well, no, I saw Guardians, but then when we bought a van and wanted to kill time for traffic down in Hampton Roads, we went and finally took the wife to see the Little Mermaid movie that she wanted to see. So, and I think I'm not. I have my own opinion on the whole diversification and what they call wokeism and stuff. I don't like agendas being pushed in movies, but I think sometimes there's a false narrative on the movies. There's not really much of that narrative being pushed in the movies unless it's just someone caught it and highlighted it. Like I had no problems with the Little Mermaid remake, but I didn't see Elemental. Didn't care to see that. That just looked stupid.
You saw the Mermaid remake?
Yeah. My wife really enjoyed it. To me, it was like it's the same movie.
Well, it was a live action. It was a live action remake, right?
Yeah.
That's where Disney's completely lost me. Is they take some of these movies and go from animation to live action, and I'm like, for me, it's why are we doing a live action remake? Just make an animation if you want to remake an animated film, remake it animated.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of splits your audience too, because I think really the only people that are anxious to see the live actions that was like their favorite animated movie, so I'm gonna go see the live action. Because if not, it's like It should be like the summer matinee that they showed to kids for $2 because you already know what the hell's going to happen.
Well, it's like Indiana Jones underperformed the whole time,
That's
right?
the industry in a nutshell right now. It's like everything's freaking rebooted anyways.
Guardians of the Galaxy didn't do too bad. Spider-Verse didn't do too bad.
Those are great movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
yet,
Spider-Verse against Sony, but yeah.
True.
Mission Impossible, that was great. To be honest, I know Tom Holland said he didn't like it, but yeah, I'd say Tom Cruise did save the box office this year between Maverick and I know Mission Impossible. They said underperformed, but shit, it still did pretty decent.
They said Mission Impossible underperformed this past weekend.
Yeah, underperformed against what it was expected to.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's summertime also, so to me it was if you're looking for those great summer blockbuster action type movies, it's definitely worth seeing. I think a lot of people might be put off because it's part 1, and then there's going to be a part 2, so it's like I don't want to see part.
There's a lot of that, and that's actually listed in one of the articles too, that people have given up with some streaming media services because they just want to wait until everything's done and they can sit down and watch and binge it. Has Netflix potentially created a scenario where it's costing other companies money because people are just going to wait? They're going to be patient about it and wait and sit down and enjoy it all in one shot. Is that how we're really facing and looking forward to content now?
Yeah, and I just think with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's just kind of run its course. I still think there's great movies out there, but I don't think it's going to be what it was. What was it? Ant-Man Quantumania was like the 35th MCU movie or something like that.
Seriously?
Yeah, one of those articles talks about it. I mean, that's a lot of freaking movies.
I struggled watching that. I downloaded that on the iPad for a trip, and I sat there and I'm like, I was lightly entertained. I had nothing better to do, was why I finished watching the movie straight through.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the box office, like I said, that short window now, like if you just don't even think about it, go, oh, I forgot that was out, I might go see it next week, and then within that next week you see coming to digital in 2 weeks. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna wait 2 weeks.
So saturation, writing. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was thinking that, man, I lost my thought right when I was right when you said something, but let me keep going. I'll remember.
Jump right in whenever, man. So saturation, the quality of the content or the writing, and a lot of other things. And Three Rivers even brings up. Go ahead, Ryan.
A lot of nowadays, like we're so like it used to be impressive when you saw these movies. They used to be very impressive. It was like we finally got something that we always wanted, and now we're all a bunch of snooty bastards. We're like, oh, this is the CGI quality on this is so poor. But like 5-10 years ago, we would have loved to have any of these movies that we could. But now we're like, we've seen what's out there, and we expect more. Instead of just saying, "What we're lucky to have these," because 10 years ago we didn't have these. 10-15 years ago we didn't have this type of this quality of superhero movie out there. If you think about it, like the best movies out there were like the old Batmans and the original Superman, and then when they started doing like the Avengers, that was groundbreaking what they were doing with that. And the story, and when the fact that the stories kind of melded together was like so amazing. It's so cool that you had to watch this and this to kind of get everything together. Now, if they don't mesh together perfectly, we're like, oh, why did they this or that? We're kind of stuck up, and we're kind of like feeling snooty, I guess you would say, like that it's not a certain way or what we want or what we expect because we've been in it too much.
You're right. There's a phrase out there: absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I think Wood's right. Is the MCU, the pinnacle of the MCU? I think was part of the pinnacle of all of movies. When going to the movie theater and enjoying those movies, you go back and get HBO Max or get one of those streaming services that owns the rights to stream a lot of those 80s and 90s action flicks, and sit down and spend a weekend watching stuff from my childhood or your childhood or whatever. You're gonna be like, wow, Die Hard, great movie, but it read like a 300-page book that you could read in a day and a half. Yeah. Then look at the Lord of the Rings and look at the Hobbit. Look at where we've gone movie experience wise. So the MCU, and like I throw the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series in there because that feels like that's the pinnacle of movie going experience. And we're on the downhill side of that, and we're going to keep on that downhill unless something different happens.
Yeah, unless it's like something that's groundbreaking that happens in it, or something fresh or brand new or amazing CGI, then it's like, it just wasn't that good, or it's just not meh. And it's just like, yeah, really though. Like Rob Mitchell said, Fast and the Furious did the same thing when it came out part one. Everyone's like, oh, it was freaking legit. I mean, that was all the race cars, blah blah, yada yada yada. And now it's like those movies are like B-list movies almost. It's just like, okay, like you're. It's like once you experience something, your intensity on it wanes until it's like something more groundbreaking. I mean, then that's where they're having to try to reach for characters and trying to put like different characters that people really really want to see, and do and whatnot, and so that's where they have to like, okay, can you imagine being a writer these days? Put yourself in their shoes for a minute. Imagine being a writer and what you already have out there and what you have to compete against to write a movie to make you excited to go see it again, with and characters and stuff like that, with what's already out there.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna compare that stuff. We always have one element that we can tap into, the element of humanity. We're always experiencing and exploring and doing new things and breaking horizon and breaking ground somewhere. Just writers need to tap into some areas like that, and like you said, fatigue with superheroes or the MCU. Get away from some of that. But speaking of great comments, the chat. Go ahead.
Just real quickly though, but during the pandemic, think about that. When the pandemic happened and everything kind of was sparse and there really wasn't much happening, people were chomping at the bit at anything Marvel they could get, chomping at the bit at anything they could that was Marvel or superhero related. Then once they got the first taste or two, it instantly went back to, oh, this is subpar. This is what we've already seen. This and blah blah blah.
The theaters would disagree with you though, man. Even when COVID restrictions were lifted, theaters couldn't even turn a profit.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing though. But I'm saying people's movie, the experience on what they like in the theaters versus, that was the profit thing was different.
Well, everybody went back expecting the MCU to still be that caliber of MCU that we've had from Disney.
I would say you can have the best actors, the shiny objects, the best effects, but a shit story is a shit story.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of other great comments too. Three Rivers brings up something that we can segue our way over here. Disney parks losing attendance is a bigger hit. That's the cash cow. And some of that is Disney talked about bringing 1,000 jobs or 2,000 jobs from California to Florida, and that's not happening now. There's been a struggle between Disney and the Republican governor about property and land in the midst of all of that, to the point where everything that's going on with the government scenario down in Florida versus essentially government versus Disney, there are groups of people out there in droves putting out alerts to don't go visit Florida. Don't go spend and visit Florida. The tourism market's down. There's a lot of people that own houses that are in the B&B market that are getting a fraction of the fees that they would normally get, and some B&Bs are staying empty.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot tied to that park attendant stuff. I mean, part of it is a lot of people that are going there. You mentioned the political stuff between DeSantis and Disney, and the right will spin it as wokeism. I think there's a little bit of truth to all that, but I also think if you're an avid Disney fan, and you've been to the parks, a lot of people are complaining, like the true Disney fanatics, you don't get as many perks as you used to. Your money doesn't go as far as it used to. Now you have to pay for everything. Instead of Fast Pass, you have to pay for Genie and the Lightning Lane stuff. And it doesn't feel like that magical. Now there's fights all the time in the parks that people are getting disrupted for. They just feel like, hey, when I go to the Disney parks, it doesn't feel like that magical place on earth. And they feel like they're pricing middle income families, and it's a huge expense to take a Disney vacation.
I can agree with that.
And I think that tied with the politics, tied with the economy is not great right now. Plus, I think a lot of people, you lost what they call the COVID boomers. Everyone was so, oh man, I'm sick of being sequestered. So when stuff got lifted, bam, everyone was going out, spending money, going on travel, doing stuff. And I think now people are kind of calming down from that, tied with the culmination of everything. But don't get me wrong, Disney's got some shit to figure out because, and I think I forget who the chief of the Disney parks is, but they're reversing a lot of stuff. Like when Chapek was there, like no longer starting in January, you don't have like to have a park ticket and a Disney reservation for the park that you're going to. There's rumors that they're talking about changing Genie Plus. I think Genie Plus has even gotten cheaper now. So
Genie
yeah,
Plus.
but Genie
that's my
Plus is
feeling
what
right
you gotta is you used to be able to do Fast Pass where you can do it for free and you can pick like 2 or 3 rides for the park that day. One was an e-ticket, which is like the super popular, and then 2 like other ones. Then once you went through those, you could get new ones, and it was always free. Before they had that in digital, you could just go up to the ride and hit the button and get a ticket, and it'll say come back between this time and this time. And it's kind of like the separate line, an expedited line to get on the ride quicker instead of the stand-by line.
Ryan's reaction is essentially my reaction. Like the what? The pass, this pass, that pass. They need to uncomplicate the process of going to Disney to enjoy and have that magic there. Because I mean, one, you're talking about being priced out of it. Yeah, I think I went as like a 7 or 8 or 9 or 10-year-old kid. My mom can attest to that when we actually went back in the 90s. But like you're talking like a family of 4 is going to spend close to $10,000 for a 5-day trip for a Disney experience.
Wait, for a family of 4?
Yeah.
You
When
joke?
you're man. It's $100 a day for a park, and then if you're doing park hopper, it's a little bit more if you want to jump to a different park.
You want to talk staying there and flying there, you're looking at $10,000 for a family of 4.
Yeah, and then another thing, part of that perk is they used to have Disney transportation that would take you to the airport to your resort, and they got rid of that. So now you have to pay for that.
Do they have Disney Light?
Disney Light is where you find the closest campground to put up a pop-up, and you camp there, and then you Uber yourself to a park and pay for a ticket or something. I don't know, but like it's complicated. It's seriously freaking complicated. Just to think about going to Disney blows my mind, and I'm like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm going. We booked. Wife and I are going without kids in January for our 15th
Wow, you're going without
anniversary.
kids?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to go to someplace else like more adult?
Have you been to Disney?
No, I haven't, but I'm asked. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
I always tell people go before you say something because alcohol, food, there's stuff for families, but there's stuff for couples and all types of stuff. Me being a big fat guy, I love me some Disney food, and they got some good ass food.
Do they have good food
and alcohol, and mojitos, and Disney Springs, and
you got to pay for all that?
We're staying at the Disney Riviera, so
I mean that's not included, right? You still got to pay for all that as well.
Oh yeah, and it's expensive.
Well,
like we're going for a short trip, 4 days, 2 days in the parks, right? And we're looking at they added the Disney dining plan back, and for 2 days it's like $500
for 2 people.
Yeah,
a day or 2
that's
days.
Table service, quick service, snack, and your dinner includes dessert,
unlimited drinks.
So we're trying to. You always try to do the math of like, is it worth it? Or
drinks or no?
Yeah, it's expensive, but I think vacation. Three Rivers also said I think Universal's gaining a lot of ground on Disney.
Yeah, it's fees on top of fees on top of fees. I'm getting there with the comments from the chat. Lots of great comments here. This is a big one. Correct or not correct, they are perceived as poor quality and anti-family by a large part of the population, not a brand you want for family business. And people are speaking with their wallets. Disney stock is down to what, $58, $59 today, down from its high like a year and a half ago.
People want them to go back to a family entertainment company and not activism.
Streaming cave drawings anywhere. Thanks, Scott. I, for one, would love an opportunity to go to Disney. If one, it's not extremely complicated. 2, it's affordable, which it's not. It's just not affordable for a lot of people. I think if you're a seasoned veteran of Disney and you can navigate your way around like Bryan and his wife and can find a way to do it affordably, that's what you need to do. You got to tap into that pipeline of people, seasoned Disney veterans that can teach you how to do it affordably. But every time I go to TikTok or see some other social media, it's always like this joke about the dad gets the bill from the Disney lunch with the 6 family members, and it's shocking that it's like $600 or something like that. It's like $100 a person. It's
Yeah. I mean, I have Disney Vacation Club, which is basically Disney timeshare, which is why we're going in next January. But even Disney Vacation Club members feel jilted because a lot of the perks they've had have been kind of stripped away too. And it's like, why even have Vacation Club when it's like you don't get discounts on tickets, you don't get discounts, the stuff that was there they kind of chipped away at. But
like you said, where's the
Man,
perk?
if you went to Vegas, I was thinking like, because I was thinking about going to Vegas with my wife, and
I'm
like,
not a big fan of Vegas.
well,
I'm not a gambler also, so
it's neither am I. Neither one of us are, but we're like, that's kind of like a Disney World for adults.
it's like an expensive ass Walmart is what I thought it was.
But you're talking like a Disney. You're talking about Disney, and you and your wife go, and it's like, or you and your, well, I guess you and your kids too, and wife and kids. It's like $10,000. That's just like, that's astronomical to me. I'm like, wow, $10,000 to go for like
it wouldn't be $10,000, but if you're looking like a week for a family of 4, you're looking at about $4 or $5,000. You can do it for less, but I mean,
4 or 5 is reason. That's more okay. That's more reasonable.
That's like
$10,000.
But it's something that you also, I think, need to plan for, but
I've never been, but, it would be, I do think we will go, but I just don't know when that'll happen, and it'll be interesting.
That's packing everybody in the van and looking for affordable options, right, Brian? I mean,
yeah, I mean, we're flying when the wife and I go, but we usually always drive, and part of that is I get more excited about hitting up all the Buc-ee's on
Now,
my
is
way.
that the one? That's in Cali, or is that in Florida?
Disney World's Florida, Disneyland is Cali.
Disneyland. And Disneyland's the bigger of the two?
Disney World's bigger. Disney's 4 parks.
I don't know anything about it, man. Yeah. I told you my story. I think when I was supposed to go as a kid, we saved up, and we had a jar where my sister and I were saving all of our money, and we're working, like doing chores and all this stuff, and we had like a little like thermometer, or moving up, and we were getting real close, and then we kind of forgot about it for a little bit, and then I was like, hey, where's our jar with all the Disney money in it? Yeah. My parents like, well, you see that food there? There's your Disneyland.
Yeah, the first time I went was our honeymoon, and it was a last minute thing because we were just gonna go, in DC. We're near DC. We're just gonna go spend the night in DC, and because it wasn't, and then it's like, hey, we found like 2-day tickets, all this stuff, and it was cheap. So I was like, I've never been to Disney, and then I learned real quick you don't wear flip flops around Disney walking through 4 parks in 2 days. And also learned how, hey, don't expect to get something to eat at these nicer restaurants if you don't have a reservation.
Well, I definitely, before I go, I will definitely go hit you up and be like, all right, how are we doing this? Well, yeah. You can become a Disney planner.
Dude, the first place I'm taking my son when it's time is Busch Gardens, man. Going straight over to Tampa. That's an amazing park. You can do the Busch Gardens 2 days over in Tampa. I mean, we tried to do the park in 1 day as a wedding anniversary, part of our wedding anniversary trip. You can't do that park in 1 day. That was what I thought was expensive back then when we got married, and that ain't cheap either. But that's kind of like the park experience that I remember growing up.
Busch Gardens Tampa and then did the Lowry Zoo in Tampa, there you can have an amusement park and Animal Kingdom.
Dude, in the Kennedy Space Center, make the drive across the floor to the Kennedy Space Center.
And I tell you what, like my dad and brother live in Tampa. I avoid Orlando area when I'm going down in the summertime because that traffic sucks. Between Universal, SeaWorld, and Disney.
What's the most bummer thing about the whole ordeal? What's the worst thing that you've ever had?
The cost.
Besides the cost, that's an obvious.
Traffic, cost, traffic, people. I mean, like
I don't like going. I'll try to avoid summertime because it's heat and crowds. I mean, not so much crowded right now, but
and that's where a lot of other people are at. With the park gets busier and busier and busier in the wintertime. The snowbirds, as they call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no words.
Dude, I envy you that you live that close to NASA, man. But back in a couple of these comments, this was pretty good. This is a really good point here. 2 hours and 45 minutes, 3 hours long between previews, post credits.
Yeah. Every movie has at least like 25 minutes of previews now.
But I didn't think about it in this fashion. Also, there aren't enough showings of the movie in a day to make up that budget. Now, I think that combined with the lack of a quick rebound post COVID in the theaters is hurting movies too.
Yeah.
Because I look at, he's right. Now that it's a combination of not enough people going, but the fact that you're a 3-hour movie, how many times in a day are you going to be showing it on the screens? That's actually a really good point. Because now it's like
prices have gone up. Like, what was it? AMC was like the middle seats were more expensive than the like they were changing prices of the tiered seats and stuff.
Yep, that change happened here too, where premium seats carry a premium price now, and they don't post it on the seats. You don't see it until you go to pay for the tickets, and you're like, why is it $38 a seat now instead of $32? But the three of us went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy, which we really enjoyed. That was $100.
Yeah,
that was $90 in seats. And another 50. It was over $100.
And even with going to Dollar Tree first and picking up some snacks,
we're gonna start doing that.
People went
3.
It was $90.
Yeah,
to see a movie.
Yeah, between tickets and refreshments.
Oh yeah, we were over $100 after we paid for popcorn and pop.
Did you get like the premium seat situation?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we got caught is we picked our usual favorite spot and we went on the website and bought our tickets in advance, not thinking about what it was. And then obviously when you're doing that online, you're paying processing fees now too.
Now with Fandango and Stubbs membership.
Well, I have a membership to Cinemax or Cinemark, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I get a free ticket every month. And it's like a $10 a month thing. And I get a free ticket and they save up and then I can use it toward the premium seats and just pay the difference. So like I can go see a movie and I only get like, the refreshment thing is ridiculous. It's $20 just for the refreshments.
Oh God. Yeah. Like, and I mean, like us as a married couple, we couldn't be
refreshments.
We couldn't be more completely different. I can't do salt and flavoring all over it, and she's got to have that dry rub ranch and all these other crazy flavors.
One kid wants nachos, and one kid wants chicken tenders, and I'm like, shut up.
So we could be seeing the movie for a lot cheaper, but I'm not eating the popcorn out of the bucket that she's eating because then it's got all that flavor and all that other crap out of there. Just give me regular old popcorn. So I mean, yeah, we got to buy some.
Do you finish both bags?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One, I'm like, I have to go almost get it. Well, I buy a large popcorn. I'm cheap. I buy a large popcorn. Then I ask them for those little cardboard fold out things. And then we go sit in the seat and I pour it into the kids' stuff and I take it back for my free refill.
Where we're at, they put the big plastic dome on the top so you can add butter flavoring and shake it. We do that with the plastic top and then hand the kid the popcorn and then I go get a refill. But yeah, Universal. So remind me, Universal Park's like right next to Disney World, isn't it?
It's a couple miles away.
Yeah, I remember when we went, we did Disney World and we did Universal as a kid. Disney Light is half priced. Biggie Shack, what's up, man? I think the biggest thing is packing everybody in the van and in a car and driving down is one of the biggest ways to save money because $400 a seat on a round trip ticket for a week on most airlines generally. At least the last time I flew, it was like $400. God, leave the kid at home, just go with the wife. There's so many great comments from the chat. It's difficult keeping up tonight, but this is a good opportunity as we keep going through these comments to talk about with everybody in the chat and you guys tonight is what does this look like for your favorite Marvel characters going forward? Like comic books in general, because Disney owns Marvel. So going forward the next 6 months to the next 2 years, we're already seeing news and reports of projects being dropped, delays, Stranger Things, because not just because of Disney, but the writer's strike included in this, on top of the woes that Disney's facing right now. Like Stranger Things is now what, 2027, 2025?
Writer's strike and there's actor's strike. I want to say this about that writer's strike and actor strike. If both of those are going on and production values are stopped, one, we're going to see an influx of stupid ass reality TV again because it's unscripted and easy to produce. But what I want to say is for all the content creators out there, start planning your content. And if you're thinking about creating a channel, because there's going to be a lull in production, there's going to be a lull in the shows that people want to watch, and more attention is going over to it already is TikToks, Reels, all that stuff. So if you're a content creator, that's your time to shine. It happened during COVID. When I had my channel, that's where I got the huge growth from subscriber base, because everything turned to talking head Zoom video, and that's what we were already doing from a comic perspective. So if you are a content creator, I would start planning for that now, and start thinking of ideas, stuff that would make you a little bit different than what everyone else is doing. Because let's be honest, there's for every person, there's a comic book YouTube channel right now. But if you wanted to do something, I think there's some chance for growth with this. That's the positive side of the writers and actors strike that's happening.
Well, one, the reality TV never died down. They just changed where you see it at.
Oh yeah, I'm so sick of like Love is Blind India.
Like Deadliest Catch is still running on like season 220 or something like that. It's all out there. It just went towards streaming services like the History Channel stuff and the other stuff. You just don't see it. We don't have cable, so we're not regularly being bombarded with. Yeah. So it's still there. There was never a lull. There might be an uprising in the focal point towards that.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they're going to have to fill some of those spots, because they're not going to have. I mean, shit, how long have we been waiting on part 2 of season 5 of fucking Yellowstone?
Yeah, but you bring up another interesting aspect about content creators. Actually, I just saw a TikTok video of a guy that if I described it, everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." He was approached recently with somebody with a TV idea and said he would be like the next great John Candy. They felt he would be a next great John Candy. And he's like, "This is my shot. I'd love to do this." And he talked about the writer's strike and the actor's strike. He's like, "That's fine. I don't have a dog in that race. I'm not part of that. This is my opportunity. I'm going to enjoy this." But the flip side of that is I'm seeing a lot of content creators out there putting out small form content that are saying, "Hey, we became members of this and that a year ago as content creators. Now we have to pull the groups or the union to see if we could still even do what we normally do." But we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, but circling that background to what does it look like for our future, the future of our favorite Marvel characters and comic books?
There's going to be a future.
There is. There is.
It's like to say, can't kill Superman. There's money in it. I think there's going to have to be some innovation. I think they're going to have to slow the flow and to whet the people's appetite and make them want more.
I don't think they're going to change much when it comes to New Comic Book Day, like new comics, because they already, it's a drop in they barely pay creators as it is now. And the writer's strike isn't affecting comic books. That could potentially affect comic books and change that. But it's like, I don't see Disney even blinking at Marvel comic books and Marvel publishing. I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things where I don't know if it'll really affect. I don't think we as consumers will see much of a change when it comes to New Comic Book Day. I think the biggest changes that we're going to see is secondary market pricing, values, long-term values of potential golden age, silver age books trending downward. The negative impacts that could be caused or created over time could change people's desire or ability or want to go after these. So you could see another generation or this current younger generation not caring about the books, and when people stop caring about those stuff, they stop carrying as much value. I don't know. It's far-fetched, but
I think you'll see some dips just because the tension won't be on them as much anymore. But there's always going to be value. I think that's, you gotta just gauge it, and if that's a book that you've been wanting, wait for it to drop and then pick it up.
Good buying opportunities.
Because you also got to remember those books they're just getting older and older each year.
That's true. What Daredevil was pushed back, wasn't it? So Punisher. I mean, that getting pushed back because of the strike, because of what's going on there.
Deadpool.
Yep. Deadpool, everything. Ahsoka was completely done before a lot of this stuff happened, so we're at least getting that. But if things stretch out or get dragged on, man, kind of effect could that really have?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that right there, what Rhynoverse says, that's where my fandom of Disney comes from. It's all nostalgia driven.
really was magic as a kid.
Hell yeah, dude! That Sunday night with Tinkerbell coming in the Epcot or whatever, the castle, Disney Sunday night. They need to go back putting them old movies on, man.
Where's the magic now for
Not
kids?
Get Along Gang, Apple Dumpling Gang, Old Yeller.
Where's the magic now for kids? Like my son's not even remotely interested in Disney stuff for some reason. The Star Wars stuff, Clone Wars, Rebels, sure, but like Disney overall.
My kids are all about video games.
Mine's all about video games and Bluey. Loves Bluey. Is Bluey a Disney thing? No, it's an Australian creator, right? It streams on Disney, but I don't know who owns it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it streams on Disney, doesn't it have to be Disney?
I mean, they own the streaming rights, or they lease the streaming rights potentially, but I don't know. I mean, if there's people in the chat that have an idea or a thought process behind how this could affect comic books and their favorite characters, please drop some information. But it just seems like they're paying Marvel Studios and content creators so little that they won't even flinch. Disney won't even flinch going forward and kind of leave things as they are. I mean, delaying of some shows might taper off. Like, think Star Wars. The number of Star Wars books that come out every year, every quarter might taper down a little bit, which would be good for my wallet. I don't know about a lot of other Star Wars fans, but
yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars stuff out there. I always feel for you. Every time I see the wall, I'm like, ooh, it's gonna be tough.
It's not. It's tough when they start doing ratio variants. Speaking of tough dad jokes, man, gotta bring the mood back up. I should have had something ready. Somewhere to go that isn't a million degrees, Michigan. Michigan was only like 80 today. I don't know. Speaking of comic books, this is a good opportunity to segue into.
Just don't drink the water.
Segu.
A good opportunity to segue into a new comic book day. Without McClay, I know what I'm picking up. I don't know if you guys are picking anything up, but
I'm looking.
It's always a great opportunity to look at some covers too. I know. I think I've got 4.
Show it. I'll just do impulse buys right now. Blade, Moon Knight.
Blade. Well, speaking of Marvel, speaking of Disney, speaking of properties, why now? After all the delays, the rewrites, and the issues, why is Blade #1 dropping now in the lull of summer? I'm still going to pick it up and read it because I'm curious. But, like, what's with the timing of that? Nothing beats Antique Roadshow, guys. God, he's right. He's right. And then the worst part is they now have short form versions of Antique Roadshow clips on TikTok and IG and other places. So I've been getting sucked into those lately. Yeah, I don't know. Are you guys going to pick up Blade and read that at all? There's a.
I will not be picking up Blade. I just unloaded my original Blade Vampire Hunter #1, the first series he came out with. The first thing, I mean, if you're asking what are some things that we're getting is Aliens. I like that series. I've been reading that series.
That
Void
has
Rivals
been
2 comes out. That's one I'm interested to pick up.
Who? What? The Warehouse?
Void Rivals, the Image book.
#2 comes out.
Yep.
I forgot about that. Where the hell did Aliens go? Aliens in here. So that's the crazy thing is like Aliens is has pulled so little on League of Comic Geeks. It's hard to find a lot of times, but that has been a good read. Yeah, Void Rivals. I'm looking forward to reading Void Rivals too. Honestly, the first issue took like 5 minutes to read. So,
and then Extreme Venomverse, they have the shark cover coming out this week.
did they jump the shark?
It's Shark Week, right? Is it Shark Week this week or next week? With Aquaman.
Huh?
Aquaman's hosting Shark Week. Momoa.
Ow.
My man.
There goes that peach shark. That was the one peach that we actually agreed that could possibly be a decent cover.
That's a peach?
Yeah.
Wow. I like that actually.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about last time.
Peach actually was doing a CGC signing today.
You don't say.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the creator artists out there that I need to get the old ink from.
Right. The Marvel stories will be told within video games. They won't have to worry about the budget for filming on location. They only need voice acting and some mocap. They add multiple endings. The audience will get what they want. Interesting.
Spider-Man 2 coming out in October.
More Star Wars.
Buddy.
Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor is number 2 in a 3-part series, so there should be a third Jedi Survivor game coming out. Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, then Jedi something. Prices will be at the rate to pre-2008. That's interesting. Yeah, so you could pretty much erase the last 12 years or 15 years. Streaming's great, but appointment TV had some perks in retrospect. Yeah. I mean, again, without going too far off the beaten path, I mean, that was what Friday night was X-Files in our family. I do kind of miss that. Dr. Afra's out tomorrow. There's a lot of talk about this issue leading up to issues 35 and 36. 36 is the one where they're doing, I think, the Clone Wars anniversary variant that a lot of people are talking about. This has gotten better with age. Wong's gotten quite a bit better with Dr. Afra, kind of finding her stride. I've been happy with this. What else? Yeah, you guys said Void Rivals 2. I'm interested in, where did it go? Night Terrors.
I'm still reading Something That's Killing Children, but I'm only reading it in trade.
Yeah, that's issue 31 out. And you know the funny thing is, they still did a full plethora of variants on issue 31. Frizen, Deladera, Frizen Foil, 1 in 25, 1 in 50, 1 in 75, 1 in 100. I mean, this is a great cover, don't get me wrong, but these books aren't returnable anymore, as far as I know. I could be wrong on that. I think I'm about 3 issues behind on Something That's Killing the Children, to be honest with you guys. DC's got the Night Terrors out, and there's I gotta find it. I feel kind of lost without McClay. McClay's been covering New Comic Book Day books for so long.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't been buying much lately.
Let's just point out the ones that we're really stoked about. I don't think we have to go through all of them. The Night Terror, I see. Well, no, I see Terror War. But again, the Void Rivals number 2 is going to be stoked. The Venomverse, I think, is coming to a head now, and that Aliens is that's going to be a pretty good read. I'm going to hope this continues on good.
Night Terror, Nightwing. I wanted to grab this and read this. I haven't grabbed and read a DC book in a couple of months, and a lot of people have said I've been missing out on Nightwing. So Night Terror's Nightwing. I'm going to grab this and see if this is any fun.
Who's writing that?
There it is. That was hard to find.
Becky Cloonan,
Michael Conrad. Yep. Ooh. That's a nice cover. I like that. Yeah, lots of good books. Guardians of the Galaxy 4. How many times are they going to reboot Guardians of the Galaxy? Void Rivals is probably one that I completely forgot was coming out. Didn't even add that to my list for tomorrow, but they're going to be ordering plenty of those. So I'm sure to read that. That's kind of where I left off.
I got to get going pretty soon, guys. Sorry, I got kids. It's stressing here pretty hard out there.
You can hear him running around. At least they're not chewing up your computer cables.
He's right outside my door. He's been trying to bang you and get in here.
This is a phenomenal cover. The Walking Dead Deluxe, I'm still pulling and reading. That's a phenomenal cover. But yeah, that's new Comic Book Day, which is going to leave us with what?
What am I single? Beat it bow!
You sound like one of those people that has the hole in their throat.
Come on in. Welcome to my house.
GTK Comics said Something That's Killing Children 31 is going double ratio.
What?
150, 1 in 10, or 1 in 100. Sorry, but
Un más single.
you go first, Beardo. What's your one more thing?
Oh
Or
God,
do you want me to go?
you guys go.
I don't really have much. I'm excited for being a soccer fan. Women's World Cup is starting, and more importantly, I'm excited for college football to start. I don't give a damn about NFL right now, but
That's because your team is in shambles.
okay. I will. Speaking of your team, I did watch that quarterback show on Netflix, and it was a fantastic showcasing of Marcus Mariota with his time at the Falcons.
I know. I wanted to see what that was all about.
But it's good. They follow Mahomes, and then they follow Kirk
Mahomes,
Cousins and
Mariota,
Mariota.
and
But
Kirk
I've been
Cousins,
watching that. But yeah, I will give them. Well, I guess it's the Commanders. I will give them 4 games.
The kid's just pounding on your door, buddy.
But
I know.
anyways, you go.
All right. Well, my one more thing is I want to give I like to bring the music theme in every so often. There's a new band that just came out called Better Lovers. Better Lovers is a combination of 2 of my favorite bands of all time. 2 of my favorites of the many favorites that I have. The first band is a band called the Dillinger Escape Plan, who broke up about 3 or 4 years ago. They actually were a newer band, and they got real big and blew up, and they had to actually disband because their live shows were so crazy that they would get hurt and stuff like that. And they were just like, they had to like calm it down, I guess. So that band broke up. And then the other band is a band called Every Time I Die, which is a band from Buffalo. Their singer and them recently split ways. The singer and the guitar player are actually brothers, the Buckleys, but they split ways. So the singer from Dillinger Escape Plan joined the band of Every Time I Die, and the combination is an amazing sound. So if you're into hardcore or like metal or anything like that, go check out the band. Again, the name is a little bit odd, so you might remember it, called Better Lovers, and even the artwork is somewhat odd, which it looks like this.
Yeah. What the hell? That's the dumbest shit. Just kidding.
But if you listen to the music, it's very good. So just want to give that as my shout out. And my eBay store is up and going. I got cards on there for football cards. So if you're from the show and you see something you like, let me know. And hey, maybe we'll get a deal.
There you go. Nice. Awesome stuff, man. I won't keep you too much longer because it sounds like you got a kid pounding on the door. My one more thing is the Clone Wars 1 is back from grading at CGC. It arrived this week. We're really excited to figure out how this did. Like, we've all got our anticipations, we've all got our hopes, and we all got our dreams, but this book has been quite the ride and quite the journey that we posted on social media. And we wanted to kind of bring everybody along on that ride for that Mother's Day, birthday gift, Christmas gift, everything for the wife, and that experience. We had a blast. We're going to be unboxing that live this Saturday with the owner and one of the managers of State of Comics, who helped with the not authentication, but the actual signing at the event at Motor City Comic Con. What do you call that? The signature process, the authorized signatory. That's it. So those guys are going to be live with us on Saturday night as we unbox that. And we're going to be doing 2 giveaways, 2 community giveaways in the live chat for that. So I think Saturday at 8 p.m. is what we're looking at. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sweet.
There.
Big bow.
Unbox that 5.5 for us.
5.5. Don't give me that bad.
5.5 moderns.
Don't give me that
That's
bad.
the new range.
Oh man, we're really looking forward to it. But we'll see you guys tomorrow for New Comic Book Day. Then we'll probably see you guys Saturday for that unboxing.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Want to lease out, Ryan?
Yeah, I do want to say shout out to McClay, who's on his way to San Diego Comic-Con, that bastard. So
Yeah, I miss my cohort over here. It's kind of empty.
yeah. But see you next week.
Later, guys.
Later.
Yeah.
Double up, the money I color. Excuse me while I change. The holler boogie has made me sweaty. Yeah.